Good Sunday morning, everyone. Want to start off this 8 a.m. hour with a live look out over Denver off of Spear Boulevard. The roads are clear. The skies are not. We are dealing with a significant amount of fog, but very much dependent on where you are and where you're waking up this morning.
If you don't like the fog, just go up to the mountains. There's no fog there. Berthoud Pass now open after CDOT was closed. CDOT closed the path from much of last night. The closure was to give crews the safest way to clear the road. You can see just how snow-packed that was yesterday.
Colorado State Patrol also sharing photo of a damaged patrol car at C470 and Broadway near Highlands Ranch. According to State Patrol, the trooper was out of the car and not hurt when the truck was hit by a suspected impaired driver. CSP arrested that driver, who was also not hurt. Just a few examples of some of the problems that we've been seeing over the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah, there were parts of the metro area that got up to 16 inches of snow across the Front Range. Want to bring in Chris Bianchi. Chris, we've been talking about this for so long, for a week now, that this storm was going to have a big impact. Now there's so much more to talk about, because you can talk about the fog, the snow, all of that, and now the roads are even starting to back up on I-70 heading up to the mountains also.
And now we can officially call this a record-breaking snow, but not necessarily a record-breaking snow in terms of the amount that fell, but the amount of water that was within that snow.
It was wet.
It was an extremely wet kind of snowfall. I call it kind of gloppy. That's the kind of term for it. It's a heavy snowball kind. But on a serious note, if you are shoveling that this morning, please be very, very careful. Again, there's an enormous amount of weight. A lot of you probably know that at this point, but there's just a lot of water within this, not a typical midwinter kind of snowfall. This was an April-like snowstorm that we saw at the beginning of February. Let's take a look at those headlines, though. That rain snow in the far eastern plains, that ends today. The fog this morning, that should break up in the next hour or two. That is good news. It's leading to some issues at the airport. It'll dry out sunny Monday and Tuesday, but still, boy, here, folks, it is foggy. I know west and south sides of the metro area. I've gotten a few emails this morning saying, what do you mean it's foggy out there? Well, it's just in downtown Denver and points north and east where we're dealing with this kind of soup fog on this Sunday morning. That will break up in the next hour or so. That is good news, but right now we have less than a quarter-mile visibility in a few spots here on the northeast plains. At the airport, officially zero visibility, and that is going to lead to some big issues. At last check, 51 delays coming to or from DIA. I've seen a few go-arounds, planes coming into land, then they have to go back up because of that limited visibility. So again, you might have to deal with some issues out at the airport on this Sunday morning. Be sure to check ahead before you head out there. HD Doppler radar showing us some of that rain and that snow still lingering here in the far northeast plains. Good news is what you're seeing here, this is low impact. Temperatures are at or above freezing, so I'm not concerned about that for our friends in Yuma County, Ray, Yuma, down to Burlington. Again, if that snow's falling, it's not really sticking to roads at this point. Highs today, low 40s for us in Denver. That'll help get some of that snow melted a bit, but that 7-day forecast, hey, this is a snow-eating forecast. Those highs in the low to mid-50s for the next 3 days. So any snow that we've got on the ground, well, your days are numbered out there, and we will see that snow melt off pretty quickly. End of the week, maybe some snow for next weekend. That's the next kind of more significant storm system to watch for. It'd be next Saturday and Sunday for us in Denver.
All right, thanks so much for that, Chris. Well, new overnight, Denver police are now investigating a shooting that left 6 people injured. It happened around 2:30 this morning in the Green Valley Ranch neighborhood. When officers got to the scene, they found the 6 people hurt. The extent of their injuries are unknown at this time. The investigation is still ongoing, and officers are working to develop suspect information.
Right now, eastbound I-70 is closed at the Lookout Mountain edge. That you can see the eastbound traffic being diverted there off of the highway. Luckily, not too much of a backup right now, but it is expected to stay closed because of a crash for an extended period of time. Yesterday, we saw that same part of the interstate stay closed for a long time. Remember, traction laws require certain types of tires going up the mountain. We spoke to CDOT this morning about keeping those conditions on the road safe.
It's also extremely important when you're up in the high country to park in designated areas. Do not park in areas where you're not supposed to, particularly in areas that have avalanche warning signs. Those signs are there for a reason. And then we also urge backcountry skiers to please not ski down the banks to their cars, because that's what causes slides, and that can close passes down, and that can cause some really bad delays.
A lot to keep in mind when you're going up to the high country when we have this much snow, whether it's on the road or where you're parking. We'll keep you updated on I-70 as we know more, but it sure is going to be a mess if you're coming back down for the ski traffic earlier this morning.
Boulder also hoping to remind people just take it easy today. Police tweeting about buses that got stuck trying to climb a hill. This is at the intersection of 19th and Norwood near North Boulder.
Right now, there is a considerable avalanche danger, like you heard about from CDOT right there. Places like Breckenridge and Crested Butte, those areas are marked by orange on your map from the Colorado Avalanche Information Center, while the red zones there is high avalanche danger. Those red areas cover up spots like Vail and Steamboat Springs, so if you're planning to go in the backcountry today, make sure you check with the Avalanche Information Center, do your research, and don't get caught in an avalanche.
We aren't the only ones that are facing a pretty tricky and dangerous weather weekend. 37 million people are now at risk for possibly life-threatening flooding in California today. Storms are bringing heavy rain, snow, and strong winds, and some areas are also being evacuated.
A convoy of far-right supporters has now made it to Texas as they drive across the country protesting President Biden's border policies. They're calling it the Take Back Our Border convoy. This weekend, they held a rally at a rural Texas ranch to show their support for Donald Trump and their opposition to migrants crossing into the U.S. Organizers say that the convoy is peacefully protesting the record number of migrants that have crossed from Mexico. The convoy left Virginia on Monday and will be traveling through southern border states. Rallies held in previous states have brought out figures such as Sarah Palin and Ted Nugent.
President Joe Biden won an early and decisive victory in South Carolina's primary. The president won his first official 2020. He said it marks the first time that South Carolina held the first in the nation primary for Democrats. NBC News is projecting that Biden will also receive all 55 of the state's delegates. Representative Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson were the only other major Democratic presidential candidates. President Biden took a moment to address voters via phone, and he was met with a chant of 4 more years. All eyes are on Nevada next, as the state will hold its Democratic primary on Tuesday, February 6th.
Airstrikes by the U.S. on Iraq killed 16 people, including civilians, and wounded 25 others. According to a spokesperson for the Iraqi government, the strikes also caused losses and damage to residential buildings. The U.S. carried out the strikes in Iraq and Syria using a B-1B bomber, as well as other aircraft, in response to the killing of the 3 American soldiers earlier this week. A senior administration official said that Iraq received prior warning to the airstrikes, contrary to claims of the Iraqi government. U.S. Central Command said action will continue to be taken against Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, as well as other affiliated groups.
Today, Houthi rebels are promising to strike back after American and British airstrikes this weekend. The Houthi rebels said that it would not stop them from supporting Palestinians and vowed the attacks would not go unanswered or unpunished. The U.S. and U.K. said that they hit 36 targets in 13 locations. This was in Yemen last night to try and stop them from attacking ships in the Red Sea. The Secretary of State will also be returning to the Middle East later today to continue efforts to release hostages in the war between Israel and Hamas.
Well, the Department of Homeland Security is getting ready for the Super Bowl. Just like the rest of us, they're cracking down on counterfeit merchandise. Every year, Homeland Security investigators say that they come across bogus merchandise during the Super Bowl, and you see what they do with it. They throw it away. Many buyers are unaware they're purchasing counterfeit items. Investigators typically find these merchandise places like flea markets or street vendors.
We are 1 week away from the Super Bowl, and for the first time, Barbie is getting into the action. Mattel is selling a Super Bowl Barbie, but there is a catch. You're not going to get it until after the game happens. That is because the special edition Big Game Barbie will be coming dressed in the winning team's jersey and hat. She'll also have a foam finger with the Super Bowl logo. The doll can be pre-ordered online. The orders for the winning team will be fulfilled, and then the orders for the losing team, you'll get a refund.
So now's that time of the year where you're either getting excited for the Super Bowl or you're getting excited to watch the Super Bowl commercials. Oreo is out with its first Super Bowl ad since 2013, and we're told it's a good one. Features people using Oreos to make key decisions throughout human history by twisting the cookie, see which side ends up with the cream, and flipping a coin. That kind of thing, you know? The ad shows the method being used to make big decisions about everything from the Trojan horse to artificial intelligence. That's an ad to look forward to. At the end of the ad, Kris Jenner travels back in time to the mid-2000s and pretends to twist on it, trying to see if she should keeping up with the Kardashians. There's that to look forward to. If you don't care about football, just watch the Oreo ad.
A couple of familiar four-legged friends will be ready for their close-up on Super Bowl Sunday. Budweiser released a teaser of its new ad, and that's going to be airing during the big game. Features the company's iconic Clydesdales heading up a snowy crest as the classic song The Wait by the band plays in the background.